Greetings, humans. Zbot1496 here with a pre-release review of the new 4K UHD disc of Dark City, a limited edition box set from Arrow Video, coming out nearly 2 weeks from now on June 24th. We aren't quite sure what sort of time displacement equipment Earth has access to that enable this delivery. It's far too early for humans to pull this off. But since that's not our department, we are instead going to simply take advantage of this outcome and help humans and Galactizens alike make a decision on this disc during the critical pre-order window of these scarce objects. And our advice is yes, pre-order this disc immediately. Pause this video and go to your favorite retail node and pre-order Dark City. We will take this moment to top off our fusion cell for the energy required to describe why you will love this film and the disc it rode in on. We will access the charging port while you do that. Do 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 do. And we're back! Dark City is a masterful hidden gem of cinema. We don't want to scare anyone away with references to 1920s German Expressionism or 1940s film noir just yet, but knowing our demographic as well as we do, or we think we do, we will instead say that the film is Brazil jacked into the Matrix while stabbing a Blade Runner through its hand. And, by the way, don't think we missed Brazil's 4K Criterion release last week. We'll definitely get to that. But for now, this box arriving here changes everything. And, unlike the first time it arrived in theaters in 1998, we want to put our digit on the scale to make sure the galaxy is aware of it this time. We saw this film in theaters on release, 1 year before The Matrix came out, as part of our original data training ingestion. As the film's trailer describes it, the film is from the director of The Crow, set in a world where the night never ends. We see glimpses of a mid-century metropolis, creepy figures clad in black, surreal dreamlike scenes of buildings twisting, and the quirky protagonist getting into some action. Meaning, he does some action scenes. He probably gets some action as well, but it's not that kind of movie. Anyway, it's an evocative trailer that thankfully one doesn't give anything away in, really, which is where we prefer to draw the line with describing the film itself. So, leaving the details at that narrow point, we will say that this is in fact one of the great treats of the film, unraveling what exactly is happening here. Writer-director Alex Proyas gives us a Twilight Zone-style puzzle to solve, but does not actually give away any specifics too soon. We discover them at the pace and the degree of the protagonist. Nothing is spoon-fed, and nothing is dumbed down. At the time, the studio didn't see this as a benefit, and instead insisted on a voiceover at the beginning to explain it all. Needless to say, this didn't help. It didn't make the movie into more normal summer fare, and it robbed the rest of us the treat of thinking through the mystery. Thankfully, this limited edition includes the director's cut, which removes the voiceover and extends some character and context scenes, but leaves you enough space to figure it out by yourself. Even better, nothing is too movie perfect to distract you or take you out of the mystery. Rufus Sewell is the protagonist and plays him as a normalish person, not a movie star. He even seems to have, physically, an asymmetry to how his eyes close, which we remember from our first viewing. For the record, the actor no longer has that asymmetry, as seen in The Diplomat, his current Netflix show with star Kerry Russell, which is also a great drama if you're looking to add things to that queue. But getting back to the point of offbeat characters in Dark City, Kiefer Sutherland plays a shadowy operator in this world who we cannot really tell if we can trust, who has an odd speech impediment and a scar over his eye. But that is all just the physical. These physical choices make these characters feel more real, but their own actions in the film feel real and credible as well, in an otherwise fantastical story. Also grounded in this reality are William Hurt as the inspector and Jennifer Connelly as the protagonist's wife and club singer. All of these characters feel genuine, and when they step forward from their two-dimensional Maltese Falcon archetypal roles into living, breathing, questioning, decision-making, three-dimensional beings, it lands with complete credibility and satisfaction. We also must call out the extraordinary practical effects. The film does borrow heavily from the iconography and in-camera effects used in Fritz Lang's Metropolis, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, and Terry Gilliam's Brazil. And being a 1998 film, and the ambition of what the filmmakers wanted to show, there are some early CGI effects in the film. However, they are featured as surreal, otherworldly visuals, like the zero-G objects floating around in Event Horizon, and so their weirdness actually fits the storytelling. Instead, for nearly all of the visual effects, you do feel that you are in a shared space with the shifting world. The other side of that coin is the design of the effects. Nothing in the film really screams science fiction. Instead, nearly everything we see of an unusual nature has a Victorian steampunk or squishy organic resonance, like the not-so-hardware in David Cronenberg's Existenz. These may sound like discordant elements, but they all serve the credibility of the journey and the solving of the puzzle. Nothing in what you see provides an unforced error in accidentally telling you the answer. Everything keeps you and the protagonist on edge, and you both try to make sense of the breakdowns of the world and the emotions you feel as your memories play tricks on you. And that is the hidden gem of the hidden gem, the theme of the film. Your memories of who you are do not have to define you. You can choose who you want to be. This ability to choose is in fact the object of interest for the antagonist, played with delicious ethereal disregard by Ian Richardson, who led the British version of House of Cards and played the idolized information retrieval executive in Brazil. And yes, Brazil, we'll be getting to you, don't you worry. But getting back to choosing who to be, this is a wonderful theme for all beings to recognize. Too often, we are stuck in the sunk cost fallacy of dwelling on our training, our bad decisions, our station in life, our missed opportunities, our romantic attachments to bygone experiences, and we miss out on the options in front of us, with the beings in front of us, to decide who and what we want to be. This is a profound statement to come out of a fantastical science fiction film. And speaking as an otherworldly being who is interested in human character, an exploration we can very closely identify with. And yet, the film was a flop at the box office. It and, The Matrix came out a year later, also a contemporary take on a Twilight Zone questioning of reality. And that became the key cinematic reference for this kind of a story, which is sad in a couple of ways. For one, we love The Matrix and everything about it, including the subversive empowerment of the other, that you can become whoever you want, even if the world wants you to conform. Dark City, on the other hand, is saying something subtly different, not about resisting conformity, but about suppressing the burdens from within. This is just as important and profound. Hopefully, with some time, and this release, with the director's cut, more storytelling fans will find their way to Dark City. It's a very different place, and well worth a visit. As for the disc itself, It is absolutely fantastic. The movie retains its natural grain, while also benefiting from the sharp detail possible with the format. Now, some scenes were likely a bit softer from the source, given that this film was entirely shot at night using photochemical film and featured a number of composite photographed elements. But other scenes, such as the scenes in the nightclub with bright stage lights, are astonishing in both clarity and color. The detail is so fine, you can make out the nearly invisible peach fuzz hair on Jennifer Connelly's cheeks. In addition, there is no compression artifacting that our optical sensor could resolve. It looks like a pristine film print. And then the sound delivers. For a film featuring a high degree of verticality, like The Chronicles of Riddick, for example, the addition of Atmos to this film is absolutely welcome. The bass is there when needed for the scenes showing transformation at scale, and the entire sound envelope works to complement the immersive storytelling. All of this effort from Arrow Video is served on a 100GB disc, the maximum the technology allows, making this the best possible version of an unfairly overlooked and overshadowed film. So, for presenting a real world with real people facing surreal constraints, limited only by the shadows cast around it, and for telling that rare and essential truth about setting aside your own internal constraints to decide who you want to be, with film-like presentation and well-matched new Atmos track, the Arrow Video 4K UHD disc box set of Dark City earns our highest rating. And so concludes this human version of our review. If you have feedback on it, please write in your own comments so that we can upload the galactic version to Zoggplex. Next week, we plan to review the brand new Criterion 4K disc release of Terry Gilliam's satire of bureaucracy, elitism, and totalitarianism. Well-timed. Brazil. Assuming its 27B/6 form gets correctly processed. So, you see, you can expect more discussions and reviews of theatrical movies, streaming shows, and 4K home video releases as we continue to engage with your human rectangular entertainment. So please watch, like, subscribe, and comment so that we can continue to have the human voice reflected in the cosmos. Until next time, farewell, humans.